productivity became a national buzzword. In fact, NBC put on a program called if Japan Can, Why Can't We? That was done in 1980. And it was such an important program, and it really turned on productivity and the role of the industrial engineer, that we decided to make a major issue out of it and get on the news ourselves. We promoted a program in Washington, and we recognized NBC's achievement and effort in promoting public awareness, and we invited the president of NBC Television News and the assistant secretary of the Department of Commerce to come and receive an award. It was televised, and we made coast-to-coast national television based on recognizing NBC for what they have done. And that was a major step forward in getting the organization recognized. And because productivity was such an issue, and productivity is an industrial engineering issue, we put on something called the Productivity Month, and we got organizations our local organizations and some of our divisions to promote productivity through in some states through their governors and through major corporations. And not only was it the right thing to be pushing, but it was very, very helpful to the Institute in terms of recognition, in terms of membership, and so forth. So that was a major undertaking which lasted several years. But things like that got IIE into a more recognized posture. It brought the profession into a wider recognition, not as just some offshoot, small group of folks, and not just in certain plants, certain industries. It had a wider range and a wider impact. At that time, the presidents and I had visits with some congressmen to discuss the issue and the importance of the role. We essentially it highlighted the organization, which was still fairly new, but it brought it to the attention of a lot of people, and that kind of recognition seeps down into the academic world as well.
So I've been an IISE member for over 40 years. And it started when I went and took a job with Stan Settles at Allied Signal Engines in Phoenix. And he said, I had just gotten my PhD, and he says, okay, I really would like you to be a member. In fact, he says, I'd like you to run for director of the OR division. And he says, you probably won't win because you're a new member. But he says, let's put your name in. And I said, well, okay, fine. Well, of course, I won. So it got me involved in leadership positions at different levels, and ultimately, served on the board of trustees for a number of years in different roles, and then ran for president and served in that capacity for 3 years. I was used to being the first woman in a lot of areas and aspects of my career as an engineer. And particularly when I was in industry, I was the only woman and certainly in operations. And then I went on to other roles in strategic planning and international business. And I was the first woman in those capacities. And that was about that time when I was the head of strategic planning, that I was asked if I would consider running for president. And Scott Sink, who was the predecessor as president a couple years before me, had asked me if I would do this. And it just seemed like the natural progression of things to do. The good part about industrial engineering and the Institute in particular is they've always been really welcoming towards women. And I think industrial engineering has one of the highest percentages of women in that field. And it's because it's the people engineers. I think it's been very natural for women to be involved with that. So I was in leadership roles in industry, and it was very easy for me to extend that then into leadership within the Institute. So probably the most exciting part for me being a member was all the people I met from all over the world. And I was, when I was in industry, I was a member of CIE, Council of Industrial Engineers, which is what it was called at the time. And we had companies from all over the world whose leaders participated in this. And I had a chance to meet with them and to travel all over the country, looking at behind the scenes things at these different companies, including an amazing trip to Europe, where we visited 3 different manufacturing companies there. So it was a great way to network with other leaders, to learn from them, to also to maybe share words of wisdom across those areas. And again, that just naturally then extended into my role as president. Being an industrial engineer to me means taking a large enterprise level systems approach to just about everything I do, whether it's for my work or whether it's at home. And it means involving the people in the organization first and foremost, but then also the processes and technology, the information, the infrastructure, and how do those all fit together as a total system? And I think that's what differentiates us as industrial engineers from other engineering disciplines who may focus on one of those elements, technology, for example, or the information. And we look at all of those as a total system with the people at the center of that.
When I got back to Virginia Tech after completing my doctorate, Paul Torgerson was the department head then. He joined the faculty while I was at Ohio State. He had gotten his doctorate at Ohio State, but he came from Oklahoma State. And I met with Paul like maybe the first day or so after I was back and on the faculty. And he said, I don't often tell faculty members what they ought to do or need to do, but I am going to tell you what I tell all of them. I want you to be a member of IIE and of ASEE, and you can think of it as your union dues. And I said, well, Paul, I've been a member of IIE since 1959, still am, going to continue to do so. But then I joined ASEE, and he said that because I'm an industrial engineer, I need to do everything I can to help my professional society. And I'm an engineering educator, and so I need to be supportive of the organization that's trying to help engineering education. So those two things. And I just thought, Paul, he handled it so well. And I've used that example over and over in my career about the importance of going out and supporting the professional society, that its whole purpose is to help you be successful. And I've benefited greatly. In fact, I would say that if I had to point to one organization that has had the greatest impact on my professional career, it would be the Institute of Industrial and Systems Engineers and its predecessor organizations. It has done so much for me. I simply would not be in the position I'm in today if it weren't for the benefits I got from being a member of IISE. It not only was great for me professionally, it was great for me personally. Some of my dearest friends are those that I established through IISE. And I wouldn't trade it for anything. Well, certainly the subject areas that we're interested in, we focus on are the ones that are, I mean, the whole notion about logistics and supply chains and all of that is so big right now. And that's been an integral part of what industrial engineering has been all these years. But I think that the big reason, frankly, is because, again, it gets back to the breadth of our focus. It starts out, you know, the official definition, if you will, of industrial engineering starts out with, talks about integrated systems of, and what's the first thing that's in there? It's people. And we are the people-focused engineering discipline. We start with people, and that's what we're all about, is the issue about people in the system. And now all the mechanics of it, the electronics, all of that, that's handled by the other engineering disciplines. But we're about the people and designing systems for people, designing to assist people in making decisions and doing all of these things. And so I think that's a reason why industrial systems engineering is so valuable, is that we keep our eye on people, and then we bring all the technology to bear to try to benefit people, to help people make decisions, to be more informed.
The benefits are enormous. It's not just the services in terms of webinars, conferences, and that type of product that IISE offers to its members, but it's the chance to develop your leadership skills. I know it did that for me. It allowed me to be in a chapter, to become a president, to get onto the board, and to do things that in the leadership sense that I really have enjoyed. And that's one. If a person's not really looking for leadership development, the aspect of meeting different people who have different ideas, if you're open to have a continuous improvement in or a continuous education, I guess I would call it, throughout your professional career, you just can't find a better place than a professional society like IISE. I think also the breadth of what the field of industrial and systems engineering covers is a real advantage. So it doesn't matter what field you're in. I mean, you could be in transportation, rail, healthcare, higher education. There's a real place for the professional and let's just say collegial connections. I would like to add something that has always been near and dear to me that I think people forget about a lot. And actually you're one of those, and that's the staff. I think that the staff at headquarters from the very beginning of when I got involved have always been, all of them, the most likable and trustworthy and, well, let's just say very well intended towards trying to do things for the members. Not just to get somebody to be a member, but to say, if you join with us and you are interested in working as an industrial and systems engineer with the staff, we have a place for you and we will help you be successful in that place. And I know that's true for me. The people that I know that are there now. I can remember a lady from many years ago named Lisa Zakin. And she was a person I relied upon a whole lot when I was back in the president-elect and president and past president times in the 90s. But it hasn't changed. The people that are there now are much the same. And so I think we as the membership should always look like, we forget that in universities and in industry alike, of saying, hey, there are people who are the real backbones are the ones that make this wheel turn and the cogs continue to be lubricated. Don Green knows well how I feel about having a staff that's well managed and has a loyalty dimension rather than just a job.
I actually joined the Institute at the Columbus chapter, the first chapter. And that was when it was still AIIE. And in 1967, I moved to Dayton and the Dayton chapter. And I'm continuing as a member of the Dayton Cincinnati chapter. And it continues to be a really a great opportunity to have an impact and enjoy what you're doing. Well, I can share the benefits that I recognize. Actually, it's given me the opportunity to learn or to know and learn from really some outstanding industrial and systems engineers, and actually to develop some great professional and personal friendships that continue to endure. And the other aspect, having served in leadership positions, chapter, region, division, and institute, this experience really helped me develop my leadership style and capability throughout my career. Those are probably the two primary benefits that I would point out to any young member. Actually, it's kind of a parallel thing. You're working at your job, and you know you have some skills and education and so forth. But when you get a chance to interact with an institute structure and the meetings and so forth, and with all the talent that's there, it can't help but develop your skills.